Hey Igor, I am doing good. How are you?
I'm pretty fine, thank you. And I had some. I was, your lives are very good on Instagram. The way you speak about the content, the music, it's awesome. I had never had this idea. You know that I did some a challenge from 22 days on Instagram,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
But I hadn't have this idea of engaging so much that you're doing. So, about your life. So how did you have this idea of putting music for people to complete? Because sometimes I do it, but just as a class exercise.
Yeah. So when I was an English student, I also had some songs during my classes, and it was really fun. But when this whole new situation started, like a month ago, a month and a half ago,
Mm-hmm.
um, I was feeling very nervous, very anxious about the whole thing. So I decided to figure out something that could help people distract from what is going on and at the same time practice English because they are having a lot of free time. So for me, one thing that really distracts me it's listening to music.
Lessons. Nice.
So I was like, okay, I'm gonna do 40 songs so people can distract for 40 days as
It's
well as
awesome.
practice English. Mhm.
But have you prepared all the 30 songs beforehand?
Yes, I did because since the first day when I released, I was like, hey, everyone, there's a PDF file that you can download.
Mm.
So just click here. So
Mm-hmm.
whenever you do that, since day one, you have access to all of the songs.
Oh, that's nice.
And
This is pretty
yes.
nice. And the thing that got me on is that you have the idea that of course you were a teacher of or you use it to give tips for English for travel, right?
Mhm, yeah.
So all of your Instagram was some tips for this and some very very good videos, and then you suddenly you told me, right? You told me, hey, I
Hmm.
don't know, but English for travel in this moment quarantine, nobody's going to travel, and then suddenly you had this idea, and it's very good. But
Yeah.
but the thing about you preparing all the 30 songs beforehand, right? It's awesome because some people ask me because I started the whole course, and now we already have 7,000 followers on Instagram, and that's pretty interesting because some days ago we were with 3,000 followers, right? And in just 1 week, we reached almost 10,000, like 7,000 something, 7,600, I think. But the thing is, when you prepare everything beforehand, you go testing, 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 and suddenly, some video you do, it's going to blow. It's going to, people will like it. It was a video I talked about the you using the ones instead of repeating, right? For example,
Hmm.
if we are deciding which pizza from the city we are going to eat, and I don't know, you say, okay, but Pizza Hut is very good, and I say, okay, but from Pizza A, B, and C, I think Pizza C is the best one. Instead of you repeating, I think Pizza C is the best pizza, right?
Hmm.
I give this example, and people like it very much because I posted on Instagram. It was more than 10,000 views, and on TikTok it reached almost 2,000 views too. So it was awesome. And from 10,000 views, we reached almost 4,000 followers in less than 1 week. So it's pretty awesome. But if you prepare everything beforehand, are just going to happen, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I would say that most of the time I have the idea and I'm like, I need to make it happen right now. Because if I allow one more week or one more day to give me some more time to prepare, you would just lose the moment. So
Exactly.
I had the idea on a Sunday and I was like, okay, usually on Tuesdays or is it's the day of the week when I release a new YouTube video. So I'm like, I need to get this done in 2 days. So my YouTube video is going to be about the songs. So it was really quick. Lots of work, but I had to make it happen.
Likewise, it happens much here on UF because I have some ideas, and I have to prepare before I release a video because I want this video to be released before the other video. And the team is awesome. It's full of great guys because they just do in 5 minutes, 2 minutes. For example, last Thursday, we were about to release a video. It was my video with Carol, teacher Carol. You know, it was a great video, but we didn't know we would prepare it in the day, right? Because we scheduled it to release this Tuesday, right? The next week. But on Thursday, the editor said, "Hey, I just finished," and I said, "Wow, already now? Okay, let's do something." Because I was about to release a podcast, but Thursday is the day that we have most views. The most views come from Thursday. I don't know why, but somehow it just YouTube just do it in some way that I don't know how. But then he said it's ready, so release. But I can't just release the video without a thumbnail because people won't see it, because it's just the photo of Carol in the middle of the screen. People won't understand, because I don't know if it happens to you, but I saw a research that said that most of people don't look at the title, they look at the thumbnail, and the thumbnail should have something to tell, hey, the video is going to be about it, right? So I said, hey, Arthur is the one that edit the image, the thumbnails and everything. It was, imagine, we released the videos 7.5, right? It was almost 7.5. It was like 7:25, something like that. And I said, "Hey Arthur, are you there?" And he said, "Yes, I'm home. Why? Can you prepare a thumbnail for like less than 5 minutes?" And he said, "Yes, I can." And he did it. Like in 2 minutes for releasing, he just released the thumbnail. It was awesome. So it's very nice to have these people near you, around you, right? But anyway, so about I really consider myself about these things, so I should ask you, why did you start teaching? Because I know you are certified, right?
Yeah.
Because I am certified, but later on I didn't start when I was certified. I wasn't certified when I started. I started giving in-person classes, and I think 2017 I was still studying English by that time. I used to have a Scottish accent by that time too. And I was starting to learn the British accent and then giving in-person classes, but I didn't really like it, because I used to go to people's house to give classes. So it's bad. I don't really like it.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any certification. Then I did the CELTA,
Yeah.
But what about you? How did it happen? Why did you start? Hey, I'm going to teach English.
Yeah, so what happened with me is that I am a physical therapist. I graduated in physical therapist, and I left everything behind to do an interchange in the United States. So I lived initially for a year, and then I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna spend one more year here. So it ended up being a total of 2 years. But when I was at the end of the first year, I wasn't sure what I'm gonna do, if I would go back to Brazil and go back to physical therapy. I wanted something more, but I wasn't sure what. And then a friend of mine was doing a TESOL course, which is Teach English for Speakers of Other Languages. And I was like, well, that's a great idea. If I do this course, if I have this certification, I can go anywhere. I can teach in Asia, I can teach in China, I can go anywhere. So that's what got me, because it gave me another profession. It allows me to teach. It allows me to have another job somehow. And so, different than you, I didn't feel confident enough to teach until I was like, okay, now I'm done with a course. Now I have a certification. It was not that the course taught me a lot of things that I didn't know before. It was more about me being, okay, now I can do this. So I had to have this first. But the main reason was about giving me more freedom and other possibilities of working from anywhere in the world.
Okay, it's nice. It's nice. But you say I had the balls to go in and teach, but it wasn't like that. I prepared the course for 2 long years. Did you know that? 2 long years just preparing the course, preparing all the classes, because I was so afraid. because I have been a confident guy since no since a kid. Since a kid, I'm very confident, and I am not really afraid of things. So I just think, okay, I should do it, and I just get myself doing it already. But for the course, I wanted the course to be perfect. I wanted the course to be great, because I wasn't just creating a course. I was creating a methodology. I was creating a method that people could follow and be fluent. But later on, I was discovering like, okay, there's not one method that works. Much method can work, so I should put this in this method, right? And I started seeing what works and what doesn't work. Right, I started teaching some people. Some people, got fluent. Some people did not, for any reasons. So I think that starting the course really, I started last year. It was after 3 years of creation, and I have all the books created, pressed, because I don't really give the book to you. For example, this is the book for the first level. I don't give it to you. You can print it. I send you the PDF, the Word, and you can print it. And was a thinking of much months thinking, okay, what can I do? Can I do a book like for 100 pages, 200 pages? I can, but why? Why should I do it? Like, I remember using those 100, 200 pages book. I didn't use half of it, right? And I said, so why will I do it? So 20 pages, 20 pages. So it's pretty nice. So I think when you want something that you say, okay, this is going to work, or even if you don't know, because we aren't really certain about anything, are we?
No, we're not.
So I think when you believe in something and you say, okay, I may do it. If it doesn't work, okay, I do it again and try it another way, right? But it's like what you did. But you saw that English for travel wouldn't work, like in this long period we are now. So you said, okay, maybe music, because I like and people may like too, and it's working, right?
Yeah. It was a moment that I really thought, like, talking about English for trips right now, like, they are feeling like, I need to travel, I want to leave my house, and they can't. So if I keep saying, okay, so when you travel, you're gonna
Mm-hmm.
experience these. When you travel, you're gonna have this conversation like, well, I'm stuck at home, I can travel right now. So why are you telling me this? So I just didn't want this to happen. So I'm like, okay, let's talk about something different. Whenever this all calms down, I'll go back to travel.
Exactly. So that's right. But so that was your idea for starting English for travel. Then you saw that much people were, concerned that they wanted to travel but they didn't.
Yeah, so when I first started coming on the internet and talking about English for trips, it was because I had several students that were coming to me and their main need was prepare their English
Mm-hmm.
for when they travel abroad. So I'm
Nice.
like, some of them already lived abroad, some others have already been abroad, but want to be more prepared for the next trip. And I was just looking online, what can I use to help my students during the classes? I'm like, I cannot really find something that I like, something that I enjoy.
Uh
So
huh.
I'm gonna have to create myself.
Yes. So let's change subject a little bit. We are talking not very much about English. I should go to another subject, but I go to another one that makes more sense now. Do you speak any other language besides English?
I took Spanish classes. So I studied Spanish in a regular course for 3 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, La Casa de Papel,
Mm.
the new season was just being released. It's fine for me to listen to Spanish
Mm.
with the captions. It's fine. But if you ask me, let's speak in Spanish now, I can. I'm completely rusty. I just can't.
Uh huh.
But it's a thing that if I practice more, it'll be easy because I can understand, but not talk. I just don't have the practice for it.
Mm-hmm. That I started when I was creating the UF course. I said, okay, maybe I learn another language, but by that time the method wasn't complete yet, right? I was still creating it because how did I create this method? I put everything that I use it that I saw. Okay, that worked. Okay, that worked. Okay, that doesn't work very much. Maybe I'll change it later, so I'll save it here. So nowadays I really use much of the things that I save it later, and I'm very thankful for doing that. But I didn't really do what I'm doing now with German, right? Because now I'm learning German. As you know, I posted on Instagram the challenge, and I'm learning German using the same method I use it to learn English that I teach people to learn English, right? And it's now I see that I can learn this much easier. Now I can pronounce German. If you speak with me in German, I can talk to you easily. But I don't have the vocabulary. If you talk to me like do you do housework in German, I won't understand. Like so I know basic stuff, but this basic stuff I know I can speak then fluently, right? So that method of learning and teaching people how to speak English really work now. But when I was creating, I tried to learn Italian. It was a complete failure, right? I can understand Italian perfectly, but I can write. I can speak really nothing, right? Because if you learn Italian with Spanish, you won't learn anything because they are really, very similar.
Yeah,
Right.
I had the chance to live in Italy for 3 months. So while I was doing my master's program, I got a scholarship and I had the opportunity to live
Oh,
there for 3 months.
nice.
So it was like, I don't know if this is Spanish or Italian. I just don't know. I was just talking like,
Very
oh,
similar.
Nina, this is Spanish. Oh, Nina, this is Italian. Like those are two languages that you should not try to learn. Just one or
Yes.
the other.
Yes, exactly. Or you learn the first one and later on when you are already fluent you try another, right?
Yeah.
And I really don't think how that there's this thing I don't really know. But I really don't know how those polyglots how can they remember, right? They have to stay speaking every time every language because how can you just remember 16 languages? Even 4 languages is hard. For me, it's hard to concern Portuguese, Italian, German. Sometimes I got confused, even because English is a Germanic language, so they are really similar. And in Germany, we don't say hello anymore; we say hi, and it's difficult for you to say to listen to someone in German say Entschuldigung. They really say sorry, and sometimes I get confused. Right? I was giving a class some days ago and I said something in German. I think it was I don't remember the word, but it's a word that's very similar to English. It's the same. It's also, but in German it's also, but it means a completely different thing. And I said also, and the student was like, "Wait, what did you say?" And oh, wait, no, it wasn't what I meant. Right? So sometimes I get confused. I really don't know how those people, you know, get with it. But anyway, how do you think that people from Brazil, because when you think about other countries, other things happens. But about Brazil, people that hello
Not happening. Now I can see you.
can
I can, yeah.
okay. So when you see people from Brazil speaking in English, most of them. I'm not talking about the middle part, but the majority. Uh, what are the common errors do you see the most?
I would say would be the words that look alike in English. I just blank out all of the words, but
Hmm.
um, I'm just trying to remember a single one. The one that they look like that they are the same word, but no, they are completely different.
Is it
Can you think of?
pretended intent?
Yeah, something like this. There are some that are easier.
Uh huh.
Pretend and intent is not as much, but oh my gosh, there's one that I. Okay, okay, okay. So one, for example, impression. The word impression. It's one that until now, sometimes I make mistake. So for example, I had the impression that it would rain today,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that I had the idea that it would rain today. But impression is the wrong word to use. You do not say that you had the impression about something. No, it's wrong. You would say impression on how the person is acting. So they are completely different. And this is one thing that I believe Brazilians, I cannot say for other speakers, but especially people from Brazil,
Uh-huh.
they get this confused. But I completely blanked out. I cannot remember any more words, and there are so many.
Yeah, I'm a, I am a guy that cares mostly for pronunciation, so I really don't go for these grammar, these how do you call it, false cognates and
Yes.
anything like this. But and I kind of have a very good and funny story to tell you, but I really care for pronunciation, so I see. One of these days I was watching the Joe Rogan's podcast with Rafinha
Hmm.
Bastos. So I don't really like him, but it was a Brazilian Joe Rogan's podcast. I say, oh, okay, I'm gonna watch it,
That's a big thing, yeah.
right? And I saw much errors, and I saw Joe Rogan's face looking at. He's saying, okay, what? Okay, they're trying, and you are in the USA. You know how this happens. American people don't really struggle to understand what you're saying. They don't care. Or you said correctly, or are really not going to try to understand, right? So sometimes when it's something really important, for example, the Joe Rogan's podcast, he would not be okay. No, I don't understand. Repeat. No, he was trying. He was really trying to understand, but there was some words, for example, took. Rafinha said took. Come on, what is it? But in the context, we can understand, right? But if you just think like that, okay, but they can't, they're going to understand. Okay, but people are going to struggle to speak with you. It won't be comfortable, right? So
Yeah.
when you have a good pronunciation, when you know how to pronounce exactly the words, not exactly, but at least near the good pronunciation, the exact pronunciation, it's easier for people to understand, and they go with a conversation with you, right, comfortably.
Yeah, I completely agree with you that when you have a good pronunciation, it makes everything easier, easier for them to understand and easier for you to have a conversation. But personally, and as a teacher, I I do not try to be so picky on pronunciation because I think first people must lose the fear of making a mistake.
Yes, of course.
So, first of all, I want my students and everyone who is listening to
Hmm.
just speak. Speak even though it's wrong.
Yes.
Speak even though you do not have the good pronunciation or if you're saying things wrong. So first of all, go for it. Make a lot of mistakes. After that, when you're ready to speak without feeling any shame or with not being worried, then it's the time for us to jump on improving pronunciation. If we just start like pronunciation, I'm saying I took a picture instead of I took a picture. I'll be cutting the person all the time and correcting. And so the person will be like, oh my gosh,
Yes.
I don't want to talk. I don't want to talk. I'm making so many mistakes.
Uh huh.
So pronunciation.
Yeah, I cannot see you. Wait a minute. Can you see me?
Mhm. No, I cannot see you. Okay, now I can see you.
Okay.
So I really think that pronunciation is like the cherry on top of the cake. It will make everything another level. It will make
Yes.
everything perfect. But I believe most people that are trying to learn English, that wants to learn English, they have a lot ways to go before worrying in improving their pronunciation. I just want them to speak before
Uh
worrying
huh.
about it.
That's a great part, and I used to. That's what I do with my students. I used to not correct them, but say to them, okay, this is the correct pronunciation. You can correct yourself, right? So one of the exercises I pass to them, and they do, and they really like it and enjoy doing it, is I put some text here in Discord, and they read, and they send me the audio, just for sending. I don't really look to it. So they send the audio, and after I don't know 1 month later, we practicing. She listens to the audio and say, I got this wrong. Oh, that was wrong. Oh, okay, this was right. Oh no, that was wrong too. Right? So they can recognize their own mistakes, and that's great. That's awesome. And but one thing that I don't know if you think the same, but about British and American accent, right? I really am into the British accent, and I really don't think of changing it. But I think when I'm going to live in the USA, maybe I'll lose a little part of it. But anyway, but by myself, I really want just to speak with the British accent forever. The idioms, I have to put this aside because I cannot speak the British idioms in America. They won't understand, right? If I say, okay, this is the ground floor, no, this is the first floor, so it's very confusing. So use the first floor. In America, it's first floor, right? But about the pronunciation, it's normal. But some students get to me and say, "Hey, teacher, I know you speak much about you talk much about the American and British difference. I want to speak with the American," and I say, "Hey, calm down. You don't even know what's the vocabulary. You don't even know much words. Calm down. You don't even know how to differentiate the British from the American. When you're able, when you are more mature in the language, and you say to me, okay, teacher, now I want to go for this one. Now I want to go for this one. And we concentrate on this one, right? Because I remember I was studying, and I told you that I started with the Scottish accent, right? I couldn't really differentiate anything. I remember I hated the British accent. I hated the British accent. I was like, no, I never speak with the British accent. I'm Scottish. Right? Then, look at me now. I speak with a British accent. This half British accent. Right? A very conservative British accent. So, I think you have to choose. Okay, you can concentrate in one because it's very hard for a student, and that's truth. That's not what I think. That's a fact. For a student, for example, imagine I am giving you classes in the British accent, but then you listen to you watch the Friends TV show, but you talk with your friends. They are Australian. You won't remember the word's pronunciation. You got one word, and you say, okay, I know this word, I know the meaning, but I don't, what's the pronunciation? I don't, because you saw so much pronunciations that you don't really know what to say, right?
Yeah. So I think when you're learning, it's important for you to stick with one accent. So choose what you prefer, and then you stick to it. But it's interesting to expose yourself to different accents later on because
Yes,
you never
and then you
know
can
who you're
choose,
gonna
right?
meet. Yeah, you never know who you're gonna meet on the street in a trip. So
Uh-huh.
you're like, I noticed that, for example, I've done the IELTS test.
Mm-hmm.
The test that evaluate your proficiency in English, and I am very used to the American accent. And
Mm-hmm.
everything on the IELTS test, it's in Australian English.
Mm.
So even though I have a good listening, I can understand a lot of things. Just because the listening was in Australian, I'm like,
Yeah.
calm down.
Hello?
Hello.
You
Now
s-
I cannot see you. Okay.
you said calm down, the server calm down.
Okay. So like calm down. I need to get used to this. So in this case is when, for example, you need to do a test in
Uh-huh.
a specific accent. It's important for you, like, okay, let's bring a lot of Australian accent into my day, so I'll be more used to this. But don't
Yes.
worry about it. If you're just starting, to one, and it will just prevent you from getting confused.
Exactly. And later on you choose, right? Okay, I want this one. Now I want this
Yeah.
one. No problem. I have changed so much of accents. Like nowadays I have 3 years of speaking with the British accent. I have no intentions of changing it. No, I don't intend to change. But I have spoken with the Scottish accent, with the American accent, near the Texican accent. Right. Nowadays, I think the Texican accent is so, I don't know, it's so unnecessary because I was watching a movie, and then the guy asked, "Hello, I don't remember the name, but let's suppose John. So, hello, John, how are you? And he said, oh, hello, I'm going to my house all the time. So it's great, it's awesome. For comedy, it's the best, right?
The accent, this is kind of the same accent in where I live. I live in
Oh,
Louisiana.
uh-huh,
So people talk with this accent, and
uh-huh.
even me, sometimes I have a hard time understanding them. How are y'all doing? I'm like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh. So it's hard.
It's nice, it's nice. Okay, so
And
let's
let me,
change.
let me tell you
Okay.
one more thing about accent. If you are learning a language, just try to have accent as neutral as possible. So do not ever decide to get a Texas accent. I would call a Southern accent, which is an accent from people in the South in the United
Hmm.
States. So do not get yourself a Southern accent because it will not help. It's better if you have a neutral accent.
No, even a Scottish accent. Don't try to do it.
Mm-mm.
You know,
No.
Southern accent you used to see because it's American, so you see some TV shows that have this accent. But Scottish, nothing, really nothing. And then I really stick to the Scottish accent. You don't really know how it was hard for me to take off the R sound because the R sound is the Scottish accent really ra ra ra. I couldn't take off. I was looking to someone and talking to someone on Discord servers, and I was like, "Hello, good morning. How do you do?" It's like, "Okay, no, take off." I say, right.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, so it's good for you to practice to stick to one accent for understanding because
Mhm.
then it's going to be very hard. And later on, you decide what accent you want to speak with, right? Okay, but talking about pandemic disease, right? And then we go for USA, but I really want to talk about this. How do you think this pandemic disease is affecting the way people live? Because, for example, for me, it's not affecting very much. It's still affecting because in the weekends I use it to go to the mall every weekend. I really enjoy doing that, but I really can't do it now, right? But speaking about day-to-day life, it really didn't change because I work from home for a long term life right now. But what about you? What do you think?
Yeah, I really think it will change people's life for a long time, and I'm not even sure if we will go back to what we used to be. Because especially in Brazil, we are used to have carnival, so many concerts, so many places where there are crowds, lots of people together.
Yes.
And I don't know. I think unless we have vaccines and we have a medication that can solve the problem, we will not be able to go back to this.
Exactly.
So, so for now, I think what each one might be more concerned about is finding a way of living, getting your bills paid, get some, money.
Yes.
You need to pay your bills, you need to eat. So if you, by any chance, lose your job, find a different way to bring um, your income from the online world.
Because you can't stop living, right?
No,
And
we can. We still have bills.
the government won't be paying us forever.
I cannot see you.
I can see you now. Can you see me?
I can. I now I can.
Okay, so and the government's not going to pay everyone forever, right?
No.
So you have to find somehow to work, right?
Yeah. And
But
put aside all of the entertainment. I mean, I know that for you, it was just going to the mall, but we know that lots of people go to parties every weekend. So the social life, it's not important. Unfortunately, like, it's not essential. So it would take a long time before everything goes back to normal.
and it's you have to find some way to to get your house more attractive for you, right?
And it's a good
Because
point. Yeah.
for example, I so okay, I cannot go to the mall again. I cannot, go out. So maybe I try to get my house a little bit beauty more. So I bought a new keyboard for me. It's a very keyboard. I wanted to have a mechanic keyboard for a long time, and now I have one. It's nice for playing.
I want a picture
Uh,
of it. I don't know what's that.
Yes, it's nice. It's like this keyboard that you have this kind of sound,
Okay, so
right?
it's the sound that you like it, but the keyboard looks the same.
It looks the same, but the response it's faster,
Okay.
right? And I bought new lights too for recording. I bought some more acoustic. How do you call it? I forgot.
Maybe
Acoustic.
plates,
No,
plates, or
no,
no?
it's
Boards,
forms, acoustic forms.
phones. Okay.
Right, I bought new acoustic forms. I really want new ones to put down here because I was recording. I saw it showed the blank wall. I don't really like it. And a new TV, maybe a new sofa. So any way that you can enjoy more your house, right?
Yeah.
Because it's just
Yeah.
going to be boring, right? A new pack of internet faster, right? anything,
That is
anything
funny.
actually.
You just need to find entertainment in your own house.
Maybe build a cinema in your house, right?
Why not?
Buy some couches. Anyway, but if you really go, for example, for these people that use it to go to parties every weekend, if they get this money that they went to party, they can improve the housing somehow, right?
Yeah.
So anyway, but about the USA, now I want to know about the USA because I'm going to live in the USA. I know much about the USA, but I not live there, so you can tell me more. But you live in the USA. How is it to live in the USA? How different it is from Brazil? Because now, how long have you been living there?
It's almost 4 years that I've been living here.
Oh, great, great. So you went in 2015?
16.
16.
It'll be 4 years in June. So in less than 2 months, it'll be 4 years.
Oh, nice, nice. Let me close WhatsApp here. Okay. So, but how is it different for your living in Brazil? Because it's only 4 years, so it's not long term, right?
Yeah, it's not a long time, but since the beginning, you can notice. I mean, even if you come to the US as a tourist, you can notice how things different are. And one thing that I would point the most, maybe just in my mind, but people are not together as they are in Brazil. So, for example, if you go to the beach, there's a lot of people in the beach. If you go to the beach here, it will not be as crowd. The same thing at the mall, the same thing, at the cinema, the movie theater.
Exactly.
So
That happens. That happens with British too, because I know I love the British culture. I love I love Britain. Everything there. I really want. I still want to go there, but I don't want to live there because it's completely different the culture. I am already an intrusive person. I'm very shy, and to be in a country that people are more shy than me, I don't know. I couldn't live, right? Because, for example, I have some servers on Discord for practicing English. I use some different ones, some British ones and American ones. So it's not really to practice English, but people from there, some friends. So, and it's very different. It's very different because the British humor is more sarcastic humor, and the American humor is very closer to us. It's just everything humor, everything's funny, everything you can joke about anything. But in Britain, if you do some bad jokes as we do here, you go like, okay, oh no, don't
I
do
can
this,
see
don't
you,
do
I can
this.
hear you.
Can
I
can you?
see you, I can hear you. Nope.
And now?
No. Yes, I can now.
Okay. So when you do some bad jokes that we would laugh more here, and in Britain they would go like, okay, that's not funny. I didn't think it's funny. Right. So it's
Yeah.
very different.
So it is kind of hard in this way to connect with people, to have
Yes.
friends. That's why when you travel, even if you're living abroad, it is common to see lots of Brazilians together because it's hard to poke the bobo and be friends with
Yes.
people who live in the place. So even for example, if you work, I feel like when you are in the work environment, you can be more than colleagues, you can be more than coworkers, you can be closer. But if you step out of the work, you just don't talk. This person is not part of your life, which is
Exactly.
different in Brazil. So yeah, this is another major difference that it may take a while to get friends and to meet people.
Yes, and well, a thing I have for myself, and I always tell everybody that asks me, "Hey, I'm going to live in somehow. I want to learn English." I say, "Okay, do you know the culture of the country?" Because if you go like you, we as Brazilians, we are the most I know closet people around the world. And if you okay, I want to live in Switzerland, for example. I love Switzerland, but if you go to there and you don't know their culture, it's going to be bad. You're going to go out of Switzerland and say, "Oh, Switzerland is bad." It's not about Switzerland being bad. It's different, right? So, for example, you go with a husband for Switzerland. I don't know. You have a child there, and then it his birthday, for example, and you invite some people to his birthday, and you're singing "Happy Birthday," and nobody claps. I say, "Wow, why are you don't clapping?" Because it's not the culture to clap, right? So,
People do not clap here either.
right, really.
Yeah, they do not clap.
So I think when you're planning to move to somewhere to live there, I think okay, search for the culture. What do they do? What is very different from us? Are you uh do you get into it? Can you? Right?
Yeah. So another thing about this that I talked when we were doing that 22 days of lives in your Instagram
Mm-hmm.
was about also the social life. So here you are not allowed to drink alcoholic beverages in public spaces. So if you go to a beach, if you're walking on the street, you can't. It's not if you're driving. No, you are in the public space. If you're inside a bar, you can. If you're in your house, yes, but it's like other people cannot see that you're drinking. So like, oh
Yes.
my gosh, it sucks. I cannot do that. Well, it's a different culture. You need to know how it works. If you do not adapt yourself, it doesn't work for you. It's simple as that. Do you like it? Yes. You don't? You don't. And you move on.
And it's completely different, right? Because if you go for Brazil, actually, you can search like how do Brazilians do this, how do Brazilians do that, and simple it works for every place in Brazil works the same. But USA is completely different. So how do you live there? It's completely different for California, for example, because I'm planning to go to California. So in California you can drink. It's awesome. In California you can smoke weed, for example. It's legal, but it's completely different from other places, right? And if you go from east to west, it's completely different. Or west to east,
Yeah.
I think.
East to west.
East to west, yes.
Yeah, so here in the country, lots of things are completely different from state to state. So I'm really close to the Texas border, and in 50 minutes, I'm in Texas. Not in a big city. I'm just, in the state
Uh
of
huh.
Texas, and it's a different law. It's a different thing. I just remember this thing because with the situation that we are living, with this pandemic and so, Texas closes its border.
Hmm.
So you
Nice.
can leave Texas, but you cannot get in Texas. So what happened is like a friend of mine has a son, and she sent her son to stay with the grandmother. So
Hmm.
the son was in Texas. It's like 15 minutes away, 30 minutes away. And then Texas closed its boards. So like, how
Now I
can she
cannot.
go there?
Uh
Yeah,
huh.
how can she oh my gosh, I cannot hear you. I cannot see you.
I am back. Am I
Nope.
back?
Now you are. Yeah. So she was like, my son is stuck in Texas because if someone leave Texas to bring him to me, he cannot go back and she
Uh
cannot
huh.
enter. So things are completely different depending on where you live, which state you live.
Right, exactly. So we have to finish now because I have to go to another class. But
Okay.
thank you very much for this podcast. It was awesome. I don't know. Let's do another episode. It was great.
Sure. Let's do it. Thank
Right.
you so much for inviting me.
And next time use the script. Can it be?
Okay, it's a be I'll be in charge of the script.
Yes. Absolutely.
Okay, let's do this.
Just tell me the day. So thank you, Nina.
You're welcome. See you later.
Bye bye.
Bye.